What is going on, Ghost Squad and Clover Tat crew? Welcome to the Ghost and Clover show, or the Clover and Ghost show. We're live right now on YouTube and simulcasting, obviously, over on GunChannels.com. What is going on, my buddy? Everything going good with you, Clove?
Yeah, it's okay if I can find the freaking mute button. God, I swear. Jeez, it's horrible.
Well,
it's terrible, as Charles Barkley would say. It's terrible.
We are, as always, like you said, we are live on YouTube. And this show, we're on my channel. And we typically will, every 2 weeks when we do this, we'll flip-flop. So the next show will be on Clover's channel. But we are on, obviously, this channel tonight on Ghost Tactical. And over on the Gun Channel side, we got DT Pfeiffer's over there, Knives, and Einstein's over there. And welcome everybody on the Gun Channel side. On the YouTube side, we've got a jumping crowd as always. Let's see here. Let's start from the top. We got the first one out there was Stealth Hunter. So what's going on, Stealth? Got Zippy, Patriot in the Dark, Rich White, the 1%. You've got Hemi. What's up, Hemi? Hemi says he's waiting for his holster to start. He can start carrying his CZP-07. That'd be pretty good.
Sweet.
Mohawk Boys out there. He says pew pew chop chop. Yeah, whatever. Trying to make this damn food chat. The Reaper's out there. What's up, Reaper? Mateo's out there. Hottie. What's going on, Hottie? Jared Leffler. Lead Life. Gunpowder Beauty. Hey. Just hey. Let's see here. Gels was out there. D-Temp. Iceman's out there. Solitary Maverick. I always call him Iceman. I like calling people different names. Let's see here. Who else we got? Let's see here.
Yeah, it confuses all the new people.
Yeah. Beaverwood Outdoors out there. Hottie says he's never seen me without a hat on. Man, when I first started my channel, I didn't wear a hat a whole lot. But I guess I do wear a hat now.
I got you covered. We're so good.
You got me covered. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. We're going to do a couple different things tonight. We're just going to talk, and you guys, if you have any topics that you want us to discuss, then go ahead and throw them in the chat and tag either Clover or myself, and we will see it, and we'll try to answer to the best of our ability.
And if it's anything about flat Earth, we will ban you. I'm just warning everybody. Right now, before we ever get started, not happening.
Right on.
This is a no flat Earth. This is a flat Earth free zone. So
that is correct. This is a flat Earth. Even with a license to carry, you cannot carry flat Earth in here.
Yep.
Let's see here. Yeah, really, I'm just kind of talking out there. Well, we're going to talk about a couple things. We want to discuss real quick. We're going to throw it out there, but if you guys have noticed, we're starting something new. It's kind of people were going to the top 5, top 10 lists, and people doing brackets, but we want to do something different because, we're just different to begin with. But hey, what's up, Sean? Sean 2A's out there. Nighthog's out there. What's going on, Nighthog? But what we're going to do is we're doing a Final Four, and we're going to do this the first time. But here's the thing: the Final Four for the bracket later on in the show has nothing to do with us. We're going to pick some the 4 participants, but the voting comes from you guys. So when we get down to it, you guys are going to have the 100% of the say on who moves on in the bracket and who's the ultimate winner. We both enjoy having you guys, and I enjoy doing the brackets in the top 10, Clover, but it seems like the panel are always the ones who chooses everything, and that kind of doesn't necessarily bring the audience into play. So I like this idea, don't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true. But then you also get convoluted lists. And I think this idea where you and I we set criteria for what's in the Final Four. In other words, these Final Four has to meet a certain set of criteria. And then so you get a more apples to apples comparison. Yep. One thing that flew all over me the other night was the G19 versus the 1911. And I'm talking, golly, I mean, the 1911 is not a fighting pistol nowadays. Come on.
It didn't deserve a first round bye either.
it's not an apples to apples comparison to me. So I think narrowing it down and making the final four to where everything is kind of on the same level. I think that helps. And we could do this, we could do this with, this, I know this says something about the best firearm company, but we could do this best firearm company 10 times, over the next year with different criteria for that particular firearm company. So,
and do you want to go over the criteria that we use for tonight so everyone kind of knows ahead of time what's going on?
I remember all of it. I know that we had a 30 or 45-minute conversation coming up with it, but
45 minutes, yeah. The criteria that we came up with is we wanted to come up with 4 firearm companies that were spread across multiple platforms. So you're noticing that Glock's not there and SIG's not there and all these other companies that are, the big dogs, quote unquote. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure these companies are representing different platforms of firearms. So in our minds, we came up with the 5 basic platforms. You have the semi-auto pistol, a revolver, a carbine, a bolt-action rifle, and a shotgun. And the companies that were going to be eligible for these had to have a product in at least 3 of the 5 platforms. So, Glock is wonderful with handguns, with semi-automatic handguns. You have other companies that are great with revolvers. You have great, Mossberg's great with shotguns, and you have Benelli with shotguns, and you have all these different SIG are great. We have all of these different platforms and they're companies that are good, but to be a great firearm company, we wanted to make sure that we were finding companies that have longevity. And the 4 companies you came up with have been around for a long, long time. They are solidified as, the patriarchs of the firearm community.
Yeah, they haven't been sold and bought and sold and bought, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And they have guns in different platforms. So that's kind of, hey, Keith, what's going on? Keith Gregory, Fee's out there. Keep them coming, guys, and say hello. And if you guys have any ideas, like I said, we're going to try to drive this through the viewers. So if you guys have an idea of a great kind of a final 4 bracket that you guys want to see, we can talk calibers. We can talk literally anything. And I think even Clover, you brought up knives and all sorts of, there's so many different things that we're interested in that we could bring up. So what do you think?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think it'll work out. I think it'll be fun.
Let's
Beaver says wise. I think of the Springfield Arms. Okay.
And Tina says high points on her mind, they're, like I said, Mohawk Remington did come up. That was one of the companies that was actually brought. We had about a list about 6 or 7 or 8 companies that we thought of initially, and kind of whittled it down into what we thought would be a really good bracket. We got
Remington. I think what got Remington for us was, the trouble we hear about bankruptcy, and then they've been bought out by Freedom Group, and Remington's not really what it used to be. I mean, let's be honest about that. So, and I'm a big Marlin fan. And Marlin's the same way. It's not the company that it used to be. And we're talking companies here. We're not
right. Yeah, exactly. We're not talking about, I think what you call them, one-trick ponies. If we Glock, SIG, guns, then Mossberg's going to be up there, Benelli's going to be up there, but we're not talking a one platform company here, Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying these other companies are one-trick ponies, but they haven't had longevity with different types of platforms. They haven't been innovative in other types of platforms. So that's what it comes down to. Is when we're talking Final Four, now we want to go top 10, that's a whole different issue, but to get to a Final Four, you've really got to stand out over the rest. And I think we got a pretty good Final Four for this one.
Yeah, I think it's extremely solid. I mean, all of them have all of them technically. I mean, you've got Beretta USA, you've got CZ USA. The reason that we threw them S&W versus Ruger and then Beretta versus CZ is because you've kind of got that American, long time American standing between Ruger and Smith and Wesson, and then a foreign aspect, so to speak. Even though they are U.S. based now, they have U.S. based whatever. I guess their importation or something. Some of them are even assembled here. So with Beretta and CZ. So I thought it'd be kind of cool, or we thought rather, it'd be kind of cool to to put one against the other, like that, and then have them face off. Longtime American company versus a newer American company. Both are all old companies,
right?
And see how that plays out.
Yeah, let's kind of take a second here, and there's some more people joining us. We've got Patrick Lothian's in the house, Keith Gregory, Native Gun, Ghostly Iron Pistol, Gizzard Gary, the tactical gizzard himself, is in the hizzy. Vanessa Kitty, how are you doing? I think I said Tina earlier, but I'm not sure if I didn't. Tina, what's going on?
Hemi says Beretta's only got 2 tricks. You're forgetting the carbine rifles.
That's correct.
Beretta also is into black powder revolvers, so that comes into play as well.
Let's see here. I think someone. Oh, okay, so we have a question already from Stealth Hunter. Stealth Hunter says the pros and cons of polymer and metal guns. That's it. That's a good topic. You want to start out?
Typically,
let's take the pros and cons of polymer first, then we'll go to metal. How about that?
Okay. Pros of polymer, I think, weight probably is one, ability to accessorize probably another. And then I think the elephant in the room is magazine capacity, right? Tends to be more prevalent with the polymer stuff. Cons, I just don't know. I mean, I've seen some Gen 1, Gen 2. I've got a Gen 2 Glock, and it's been around the block for sure, and it's still rocking strong. So to say that polymer won't hold up, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, new technology polymer, right? I mean, obviously, I've seen plenty of like the old Remington nylon rifles and things like that, crack stocks and this is broken, that's broke. I get that. But as technology is involved with polymers and things like that, I mean, we're in the infancy still. We've yet to see that. So, I hate to say that's a drawback, but I mean, you could put that in the con category, at least for now, because it's an unknown. What else? I don't know. Overall ruggedness, probably. I mean, yeah, I know that the polymer takes a beating, but I mean, if you threw something metal on the ground and ran over it, I think you would have a lot worse disaster on your hands with the polymer if you ran over it with the same vehicle or whatever, I think. So yeah, I would say probably those. Yeah, probably those couple of things on the con side. Not a whole lot. I'm a polymer guy though, so a little bit of an unfair.
I'm a polymer guy too. So yeah, for me the biggest pro, there's 2 of them. One is the weight. Especially if you're talking about polymer carry guns, compact, subcompact guns, the weight is going to be a very good side of the polymer carry guns. Like you said, and also the customization of them, you can do different grips. You can the stippling and all that stuff when it comes into polymer is kind of a cool thing. But you can do that with all sorts of things. But I would say that for me, the weight is the biggest factor. But I'm a polymer guy. As far as cons, I'm kind of the same way. I could probably find a couple, but I have to stretch. Nothing really comes to mind except for maybe the durability. But like you said, if you run over a metal lower pistol with a car, it's going to probably maybe not break as into many pieces as a polymer, but it's still going to be damaged. And like you said, the capacity is great, but for me, it's more the weight. I just like the feel of a lightweight gun, and maybe that's just me. But now, as far as pros and cons of the metal, I don't dislike metal. Metal
I think
guns.
you're like me. I think one of your favorite metal is the Beretta 92. One of your favorite all time is Beretta 92.
Beretta 92. That's correct.
Yeah,
it's a metal
96. that style. I mean, I love it, and I love the CZ style too.
Yeah, sure.
So you're talking about metal frame. So
yeah,
I don't know. There's just something about them, but I mean, if I'm gonna, I guess you got to put it into context as to if I'm gonna carry one, it's probably gonna be poly.
Yeah. Leo and Nightwolf out there. Thermos out there. Let's kind of go through here what they're saying. Let's see here.
Who knows?
Metal guns usually have better triggers. You know, I mean, maybe as a stock trigger, maybe. But you know, there's a lot of guns that have really good triggers in polymer. I mean, right of as far as a stock trigger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on Hank's show they were talking a little while ago about Glocks, and I think Patrick or whatever his name, the Firearm blog guy, said that Glock is the best gun to make perfect. And I think that's because of the customization side. You know, when you're talking a lot of polymer stuff, is you can customize them so much that you can really turn them into whatever you want. And with aftermarket triggers these days, and aftermarket grips, and everything that's out there, is truly, you can make any gun customized to how you want it. But Glock seems to be the one they say that is customized the most. Well, there's so many Glocks out there, you know. So yes, there's going to be a large aftermarket, just like Ford. There's a large aftermarket for Ford cars. You know, Mustangs can be customizable. Is it because that they're easily customized, or because there's so many of them out there? There has to be a big aftermarket. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Kind of the chicken and the egg question.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
And then you've got a lot of. I mean, think about just a sheer number of double action, right?
Yep.
And that's got to be a that's got to be a perk of steel frame. I mean, you've got more double action there, so, and then or double action, single action, I guess, and then what else? You know, the whole weight thing comes back into play too, because the weight could actually be a benefit if you're talking particularly a larger caliber, snappier caliber, because you're going to have less felt recoil. So
that's right. Yeah. I was going to say that the recoil is definitely probably the biggest pro for metal for me is recoil. Right. You know, and that's not for everything, but that is typically when you have a lot lower weight, below that the bolt and the slide, then yes, it's going to help. Typically, going to help keep that a little bit more online. Let's see here. Sometimes less weight is no good. Vanessa says, yeah, and that's true. You're saying I own a Glock sticker, 1% says. Leo says all of his guns are made from meteorite. Really? Nice.
Cool. The dwarf star is made from
meteorite last night in Matt's chat. $1 million guns. Let's see here. Going through the chat real quick. Nothing beats a flintlock pistol for concealed carry, Leo said. That's pretty funny.
You know, cap and ball really changed the game back then. Flintlock that's tough.
And Philo says that I guess so. What he's saying is all of his target guns are metal, and and that very well could be when you're talking about precision target shooting. Well, most of your 22s, are they metal or are they polymer?
They're metal.
Yeah. I'm saying for precision, that metal might be a better option, you know.
Well, I mean, you can have less flex, and I mean, especially if you're talking precision target, you know, the slightest little bit of flex in something polymer, I mean, could make a huge difference with a precision match. Yep. It could. So
very well could. There's nothing going on as far as chat wise over on the gun channels. Just was checking in on that, but yeah, Patriot says with a metal pistol you can dig yourself out of a Russian prison. Can't say that about polymer. Well, but you could crack the grip of a polymer and make a little shiv in prison to defend yourself. So, let's see here. Still says that metal has better UV protection. And Rocall says he doesn't like to customize his handguns so much, less stuff to worry about. I don't like to either. I'm not one of those guys that on any of them, and, you know, even some of my ARs, I don't typically put an optic on there. I do not put red dots on pistols. That's just me. I don't understand it. I'm a big iron sight guy. The only thing that I really do to customize a lot of my handguns is I'll change out maybe the front sight. Now blackout, typically I'll either put, I found for my Glocks, I have it's called a claw sight, and it's kind of just shaped like a kind of a claw, but it's a blacked out rear sight. Now, if I don't put that on my Smiths and all that, I will just Sharpie or something. I'll, fingernail polish, whatever. I will typically black out my rear sights, and I'll probably usually change out my front. But that's kind of basically the only customization. And, sometimes like, let me go ahead and clear this real quick. On like this one here, my carry gun, I'll put like a little Hogue grip or something on here, or just something like that. But I'm not into the huge customized handguns. That's just I like mine pretty stock. If I don't like it stock, then I'm probably not going to buy it.
Okay.
Do you customize much on your stuff?
It just depends on what it is, honestly. Yeah, completely depends on what it is. Yeah, I mean, some stuff, yeah. Other stuff, I mean, I like it the way it is. So, on
do you put like an RMR on any of your stuff?
Yeah, I've got the 17L, I do, and then of course the buck marks. It's not an RMR, but red dot. Anyway.
A red dot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Yeah.
Tina wants to know, are Glock triggers bad because it seems like a lot of people change them? I've had
triggers. Glock triggers need a little love.
They need a little love. I own 3 Glocks. I own a 17, a 19, and a 36. I have on the 17 and the 19. I have, on all of them. On all of them, I have the stock trigger in there, but they're all Gen 3s, and maybe it's because I like the Gen 3 trigger, maybe, and I don't know if the triggers have changed much over the generations, but the Gen 3 is my favorite generation of Glocks. So I have stock triggers in all 3 of my Glocks. Now there are people that will trade them out as soon as they get a Glock. It's kind of really up to you. Depends on what kind of trigger weight you want. Do you like a curved trigger or a flat trigger, or whatever? It's kind of a personal thing. I kind of like the feel of a stock Glock trigger. I know, because I've shot so many of them, I know exactly how they're usually going to perform, so I'm used to them. Maybe, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I change all mine out, and I mean the biggest thing, I mean, even if you don't swap out the disconnector or things like that, then I think at least probably go in, because Glocks are so easy. I mean, literally, I don't have my Glock tool around here, but it's literally a punch. It's all you need. And take and on the whole, trigger assembly, fire control assembly, whatever you want to call it. Take and polish out all those contact points, and that makes a big difference, because in my experience with Glocks, the thing I probably felt the most with Glock triggers is they tend to be a little rough, a little gritty. It's not that they're heavy or there's a long travel or a long reset or anything like that.
Yeah,
it's just like they seem a little bit gritty, and that's fit and finish, and you're going to have that with firearm companies, across the board on products. It's just going to happen. And they mass produce the parts and what have you, and you can have machining marks or burrs or little things like that. So I'll typically polish everything out, and then a little bit of oil, not a whole lot, and put it back together and let it go, and it makes a world of difference.
When last year I ran a ghost trigger in my 19 when I was shooting competition with it. And at the end of the year, I went back and put the other trigger back in. I like the way that the ghost trigger felt in competition, but in the wintertime, after that's over, I like to carry my 19 during the wintertime, and I feel more comfortable carrying. I mean, it sounds weird because there's 2 different scenarios. You have competition and you've got a concealed carry situation where trigger pull might be a little bit different. You're looking for different things out of your trigger pull. So I actually went back and put the original, but for competition, maybe I'll drop in the ghost trigger. And if you guys never use a ghost trigger, I don't use it because it's obviously ghost, but it's not me. But they're great. They're great triggers for Glock, so you can go check those out. And they're really not that expensive. We have a great question from Revolver out there. He says, what are the chances of a person actually using their sights in a self-defense situation? I would like to think very, very small. If you're using your sights, then you've got a chance to get away. I mean, honestly, you know,
probably. Yeah. Yeah. Unless it's a wild scenario where there's, you know, a gunman with some type of a high capacity rifle of
maybe
some
20
sort
yards
in a mall situation or something, right, and you feel the need to engage rather than just get the heck out and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, for sure.
Because remember, I mean, you're not charged with having to save everyone in the mall or everyone in the wherever you're at, right? I mean, that's, you know, ideally to protect you and yours. So I think most of us in that situation probably would engage if we had the opportunity or felt we had the opportunity. But then take that scenario of one gunman with that, let's say, AK, and turn that into 6. You know, I'm likely not going to engage at that point. I'm getting the heck out of there.
The fish break chat's happening out there. Catfish has been thrown out. So yeah.
You know, somebody up in the chat mentioned something a minute ago, and I don't remember who it was. So forgive me for that, whoever was out there. But what they mentioned was that firearms nowadays are way more accurate than most people are able to shoot them anyway. And that's true. A lot of people get really hung up on this sub MOA and, you know, tweaking this and tweaking that. And, you know, I found, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm just a really good, you know, precision shooter and I can make it happen. I don't really think I am. But I mean, I can take the crappiest of the crappy Walmart hunting rifle, you know, and easily get MOA, sub MOA out of it at, you know, 100 or 200 yards. So, yeah, a lot of times we do get a little too hung up on things, I think. I mean, we can get snobby, I guess, and I'm a snob about a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. Suppressors is one of them, but yeah.
Let's see here. Stealth Hunter says, thought on the Trigicon HD sights. No experience with them, bro. I would be speaking out of turn and speaking out of my ass. I have not used a Trigicon HD, so for me, I don't want to discuss them that I don't have it. I'm not going to lie to you, so I have no experience with them. Maybe Clover does.
Nope.
Yep.
No,
so
the only Trigicon anything that I've ever dealt with is the ACOG on my FAL. That's it.
Yeah. So. A lot of people swear by Trigicon. So, I mean,
I'm going to be honest. I can't afford Trigicon. So
I understand that as well.
I can't afford a Trigicon sticker or patch, let alone some type of optic or sight. So,
yeah. The tactical troll out there, Tac Daddy, says, unless you train point shooting, you should probably line the sights. And that's what the whole thing is about is, you know, we hope that everyone's out there training and practicing. Either you're training or you're practicing. There's a difference in my eyes. You know, if you're out there practicing, practice using your sights and practice sometimes at you know, anywhere from 3 to 7 yards. Just worry about getting that point. Oh, Yankees live in 30 minutes. Good for him. But you know, there's different. If you practice both ways, you know, don't just be like we talk about one trick ponies. Don't just practice one way or train one way. You know, if you're talking about being a lot more precise, then obviously using your sights are great. If you are just talking about trying to get a couple quick shots in a self-defense, you should be able to, if you practice enough and you're proficient enough with your firearm, you should be able to pick up your front sight without really picking it up. Does that make sense to you? I mean, am I making sense to you, Clover? But
yeah,
you should be
absolutely.
able to pick that front sight in an enough way to get a somewhat accurate shot downrange.
Well, and I don't know if this is, it happens to other people, but I can speak from my experience when you're talking about, you know, carrying self-defense, that sort of thing. Right. You know, whether you like it or not, there's some firearms, there's some pistols that fit you well, and there's some that don't. And I think because I'm guilty of this myself, I have in the past, and with the two that I predominantly carry now, they fit me pretty well, so I don't have that issue. But in the past, I would force something just simply because I like that firearm, right? And once I realized that, wow, this pistol, I'm able to just bring this up into my plane of sight perfectly. Every time it's the way the grip angle is, it's everything is just right on this one. And once I realized that, it really bettered my confidence in being able to, and like you say, not at 20 yards, certainly, but at 3 yards, 7 yards or so, man-sized target, even at 10 yards, probably. I could throw it up and get a couple off without any problem.
Sure. Let's see here. Southpaw says the Trijicon HD with orange front sights are excellent, but pricey on his Glock 43. Nightwolf says, Ghost, what's the name of your watch? My daughter got it for, I think it's a G-Shock. So it's a green G-Shock. It's a pretty cool watch. She got it for my birthday last year.
Tina out there is talking about building a purple AR. So I don't know if you've seen my Instagram, but I put up the Hulk AR, which is one that Timber Creek Outdoors, some of their parts are on. So they make some from rails and grips and other things that anodized purple, really cool looking stuff. So
that picture into them. Awesome.
Yeah. I'd like to have one that looks like that. It was pretty cool.
Let's see here. Atypical Jake says, I took an active shooter training last year with local police. Don't have your gun in hand when police enter. If you have to shoot, reholster as soon as possible. I think that, I shouldn't say it's common sense because nothing is common sense. What common sense for me is not common sense for somebody else. But if you're in an active shooter scenario and you happen to be there before the police are, and you're engaging or whatever, and you see the police rush in, the last place that I want to be is out in the open holding a firearm because they don't know if I am the target or if I am helping them. So yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and when you see the police enter, holster, try to make contact either somehow, some way to let them know that you're a friendly, and all of that. But yes, most definitely probably don't want to have your firearm out when the cops enter the building initially, because that could be interesting.
Most will tell you not to even look at to go further than even holstering it. Most will tell you if you can secure it somewhere off body, whether that's locking it in your trunk, locking it back up in your car, something like that, and not even having it on your person when they show up. It's pretty apparent that you were using it, and at that point you can tell them where it's at. They can go get it if they need to, whatever. But that's what most people I've talked with, that's what they say. Now, to kind of throw a kink in that whole scenario, what if you're actively, it's like you say, you're actively engaged when they roll up? I ain't throwing my, I guess I'd have to take my chances, right?
Yeah.
And hope that whoever called in the incident described the perpetrator well enough that they know it's not me.
I'm definitely not going to put my gun away if there's an active engagement between me and the perpetrator. Right. I'll take my shot.
or even if you, I might holster it, but even if it's a case to where you've winged him or something, and he's in the area, or he's still in the building because you're covering the exit or something, right?
Right.
There's just certain situations that I don't know. You just got to kind of play that by ear. But I doubt that happens very often, that the police roll up.
No.
Usually when they roll up, body bags are required at that point, one way or the other, unfortunately.
Right. Patriot out there is throwing the gauntlet down. He says, and I quote, I say, if you can't hit the target at 7 yards with your eyes closed, you better hang it up.
A silhouette, a silhouette, Maybe that needs to be a drill.
That sounds like a challenge. I want to see some video out there. So Patriot, I think you should start something up on your channel and get people to VR you from 7 yards with their eyes closed, and let's see how accurate the average person is out there from 7 yards on a silhouette target. I think you're right.
He's just saying hit the target. He's not saying you got to put him in a dime.
I'm saying I think he's right. I think they should. But what I'm saying is this would be a really cool experiment because, you know, as proficient as you think you might be, you start closing your eyes, your mind freaks out a little bit if you've never shot or done something with your eyes closed. So that would be a really cool experiment to see. Actually, I love it.
It's kind of like you have a lot of people. I know I'm this way. Sometimes, you know, the lights will go out, and I'm in my house. I pretty much know where everything's at, right? But if I ever get disoriented, I don't want to say I freak out, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. If I ever get disoriented somehow, which I mean, sometimes it happens when you're like total dark and you're feeling your way around, you'll get disoriented, and for a second you freak out. You know, it's like, oh crap, you know, where am I at? You got to stop and collect yourself and go, okay, this is where I'm at, you know. So my hallway is over here, you know, and then start feeling around for the door frame or whatever. Thankfully, we don't get caught without flashlights too often anymore, which is nice. But yeah, that's one of the things I was talking about earlier is, you know, and take, you know, go to the range and I mean, go with a buddy, right? And that way it serves two purposes. First of all, maybe you can shoot and do that actually with multiple firearms, because the one you're most what am I saying? Naturally, that fits you naturally, may surprise you. And then second of all, while you've got your eyes closed, they can also give you some direction here and there as well. So they can say, hey, you're a little left, or you're a little right, or you're a little low, or whatever. But yeah, those are cool drills. I mean, I think people should probably do those. Now, you don't want to do that from no more than about 7 yards, obviously.
No.
Bunches and bunches and bunches of reasons. But yeah, 7 yards.
Mohawk Boy says that he likes to shoot some, then close his eyes, then open his eyes to see how close he is to the bullseye, and then repeat it. And he wants to know if anyone else does that, or is he special? No, I actually I don't necessarily practice a whole lot with my eyes closed, but I have. And typically what I'll do is I'll get like 10 rounds, and I'll go, my first 5 rounds will be eyes open, and then I'll bring it back to the ready, you know, close my eyes, extend, and fire 5 for muscle memory. You know, I use those first 5 for muscle memory for the second 5, and then I'll do a second mag, and I'll go the first 5 eyes closed, come back, second 5 eyes open. I don't do a whole lot, but every now and then I'll do that. Probably about every 4 or 5 range trips I'll work on that stuff. So I probably need to work on it a little bit more, though, honestly.
You see Troll Daddy out there? Says shoot the tail on the donkey drills, blindfold and spin. Yeah, no, do not spin. That's not blindfolded. That's not going to end well.
Never, you know, speaking of spinning, all right, and not ending well, Hank and those guys had a conversation earlier, and I think you and I are both in agreement. They started the conversation saying there's a lot of people, and Tack Daddy, and you'll love this. But he said that a lot of people that are in the firearm community, whether it's media, you know, YouTubers or print media or whatever, and they go to these media events, they were talking about how bad of shots the average media person is. But then they go on a 30-minute tangent, and they're not saying the way they're describing it. They're saying they're unsafe shooters, not bad shots. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of bad shots out there, but all they described were safety issues and flagging people and negligent discharges. And I applaud Hank, because I think we've all been there. I know I have, and I think you have at least once or in your lifetime, Clover, and we've all been there, but most of us has had a negligent discharge before. But I think people are so scared to mention it because they think that people are going to make fun of them, or that's part of being a firearm owner, is you're going to have them in your lifetime. You just had to hope that it was minimized, and it was a, you know, not a deadly negligent discharge.
Yeah.
But you learn from that stuff. And like I said, I know that I have one. And now Hank said he did have one not too long ago. And I have you. I'm sure you have, but have you had one?
Yeah, I can think of two that were my fault. And
No,
I've
I'm talking. Yes, I'm talking our fault. Yeah,
because you got to realize you can have, and that's why it's don't be ashamed of it. It's and I was trying to make this point in the chat, so I'm gonna in that chat, so I'm gonna make it here. Why? Because hey, we've got everybody held captive, and I can actually explain it. But yeah, I mean, negligence that can happen from malfunctions or a wide variety of different things. Most commonly, yes, it's shooter error, but it can happen for other reasons. But here's the thing: if you're following all of the safety rules and safety protocols, that negligent discharge, the odds of it not ending well are going to be very astronomically low, right? So you're going to be muzzle's going to be pointed down range, or your fingers are going to be off the trigger, or whatever. And if you do all of that first of all, that lessens the odds of you even having a negligent discharge. And then second of all, should that occur, you're going to be in a lot better position, I think, to deal with it. You just put it around into the ground or down range or something like that. So,
and that was mine. I was at the range, and I had my pistol on the wood. I don't know what you call it, but the counter, I guess you'd call it, whatever. And went out there, taped a new target out there, picked it up, and when I picked it up, my finger. It was just stupid, but my finger kind of grazed that trigger and it shot down to the ground. And luckily, everything was okay. There was nobody else down range. I was the only one at the range. But yeah, that was totally me. And I want to say it was a Revolver says out there, the thing about the negligent discharge is 99% of the time, if you've had one, you won't have another one. And I'll put it to you this way. I'm not saying that you won't have another one, but typically you won't have another one for the same reason. If I was being lazy with grabbing my gun and picking it up, I'm always very careful about picking my gun off now before I go. I'm not saying you're not going to have more than one negligent discharge, but I think you're probably going to have them for different reasons. I would like to think that most of us are going to learn from our mistakes in the past. Now Tardot be out there is trying to be funny. Did you see that one? He said he'll be back in a bit. Tardot out there says, let me go back to my chat. He says he's had several negligent discharges, and that's how he's ended up with 3 kids. That's pretty funny. Well, and Kevin, I agree. Accidental discharge and they're, in my eyes, any discharge that is not on purpose, whether it's, you can call it accidental or negligent, they're the same thing in my book. My opinion is they're going to happen. You hope that they never do, and if you're very lucky in life to where you've never had one, congratulations. I hope that you never do. I've had one. Now, I want to say someone up there, I'm going to go back up here. I think it was Thermo, says that he saw a bunch of NDs in the military. They always end up in Article 15. I for some reason, I never saw one in the Marines. Maybe it was because we were literally fearful of what was going to happen to us if, how bad are we going to get our asses beat if we did that. Not just by maybe a sergeant or a staff NCO, but by our own squad members or platoon members would take care of that very, very quickly. So maybe the fear of that, we were always very, very comfortable. Luckily, I never saw one of the Marines. Not saying it didn't happen. I just never happened to see one. TAC says they're almost always negligent, and they are. But I mean, when I say negligent and accidental, a negligible discharge is an accident. I mean, no one actually goes out there and I hope no one actually goes out there and tries to have a discharge. So I think they're all accidental. I don't think anyone out there is trying to do that on purpose.
Well, unless there's some kind of testing going on, I guess. Maybe.
Well, but that wouldn't be a negligent.
Well, that would be negligent. You would be trying to do it. So yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
He says that Thermo says he's seen negative discharge in shoot house. Lieutenant almost got shot by a PFC null. I will say this, and maybe I don't know. We had a combat town in the Marines at Pendleton. We never went live fire. If we were doing a big clear or something like that, we never went live fire. We did blanks and all that stuff just because we didn't want to put ourselves in a position to have to go live. Now, I guarantee that PFC did not like what happened after that, almost killing the lieutenant. You know.
Yeah. Yep. Well, my story, was telling earlier, which I mean, it's archery, has nothing to do with it, but it's the first time I'd ever had anything like that happen today, and it was insane. But and I guess most everybody knows. I mean, I teach archery, and teach this one, teach this one private school, and we're out there today. Got 2 more weeks left in the year, right? We got this week and then next week, and well, actually, just 1 more week, I guess. Actually, because next week. But anyway, have went through the whole year at this private school. Have had no issues. Everything's fine. We're on the line. I don't know how far we are into class or whatever. There's 4 on the line. There's 4 boys on the line, and one of them just decides he's going to throw his last arrow down on the ground in front of him and run down range and hide behind one of the targets.
Whoa, what now?
Yeah. Kid you not. Wow. And I'm blowing the whistle because, I mean, you got to know whistle commands with archery, but 2 means get your bow and come to the line. 1 whistle blow is fire. And then 3 means, the line is clear. It's safe. Go retrieve your arrows. Anything more than 3 is a ceasefire. So I'm blowing on the whistle as much as I can, and I'm grabbing bows and moving kids and hollering and screaming, and he thought it would be funny. He thought it would be funny. I mean, this kid is never. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he all through the year, he has, it's that boys will be boys type thing. He's been a little on the hyper side, joking around and roughhousing, and just to me being a boy, right? So I don't know what was going through his head, but he got sent to the principal's office. So at least I got to do that once before the year was up. That was kind of cool. But I nearly had a heart attack, dude. I'm telling you, I ain't never in all my years of coaching kids, whatever. That's the first time I've ever had anything like that happen, and it was insane. So, again, I can't stress enough all of the safety protocols and things you put in place. I mean, the other ones on the line knew when I started blowing the whistle to, if they were full draw down, don't fire it, that sort of stuff. And then, being able to look out the corner of your eyes and know what's going on and quickly pick up on things, it makes a difference.
Now, Leo says, so Clover Tech is the real Katniss Everdeen. And I don't know if you watch Hunger Games, but that's a Hunger Games.
Last time I checked, I was of the male persuasion and not 12 years old. So, no.
Now, Bullseye's got a really cool question on here. He says, do you consider a double discharge? Since his trigger's 2 pounds, once in a blue moon, he'll squeeze a trigger and 2-shot fire because he's trying to get a quick reset and over squeeze the trigger.
That's interesting because there's what is the name of that YouTube video?
Trigger. I don't know.
There's a YouTube video, and it's a television show that was on like years ago, right? Right. That's what Bullseye out there, what he said reminds me of this. But anyway, there was these, they were having a match. It was an air gun match, I want to say, in a building, right? And the line guy, the range officer, whatever you want to call him, right, that was facilitating the match, he's sitting over there and watching everybody. And all of a sudden, this dude just like falls out on the floor. Blood everywhere, whatever, right? And he's like, what the crap? And he took a 45 slug to the head, dude.
What?
So, yeah, get this. So they brought in all the investigative team, and this video is about that. Like I said, it was some kind of Himmy says a forensic file episode. That's what it is, yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, what they figured out is there was a guy shooting a 45 on a range behind this building.
Oh,
right?
my
And the guy double fired, like Bullseye was saying. And when he did, it was at such an angle that it went through a slat. The slats they had up, they had slats and then a berm. It went through a slat. It skipped the berm. It went through the back of the building. It bounced off like 3 beams and the sheetrock, and then went down and hit this guy in the head.
I mean, I don't want to joke because it's not a joking matter, but that's one hell of a magic bullet.
And that's one. I think that's the name of the episode. Honestly, is something about the magic bullet. But that's one of them things when if that don't tell you when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. I don't know what does, man.
I mean,
that's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happened. They determined that that's what happened. It was, he fired, and then under the recoil, whatever, he fired again, and that's what started the whole thing.
Yeah, a 2-pound trigger, unless you're extremely comfortable and familiar with it, that's, I would say if you're having even if it's only once in a blue moon bullseye, I would say if you're having issues and every now and then you're having double fire issues, maybe you shouldn't have the 2-pound trigger. I'm just, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I'm saying that could be an issue,
Well, we have competition rifles. We have 2 competition rifles they're 2-stage. And I need to measure it at some point and see what actually the first stage and all is. But the breaking point is 6 ounces.
Yeah.
6
ounces.
Ounces. Yeah, not pounds.
The wind blows more than 20 miles an hour. That might think
your pulse can literally set it off. No kidding. No kidding.
Now, Super out there says he's never had an ND, but had a hang fire his second time shooting. Scared the shit out of him. Your second time ever firing. That's funny.
And now, if you shoot black powder, you sort of get used to that. That's one of the rules of black powder. If it doesn't go off, are a little bit different. You don't immediately pull that thing down, and I mean, you kind of stand there and wait on it for a few seconds before you do anything.
Right. Now on Hank's chat, it was in a chat, and it wasn't Hank or those guys talking. There was a pretty good little conversation going on in the chat, and someone had mentioned, and you kind of freaked out, not on this person, but just freaked out in general. I think I remember reading it correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I want you to expand on it. But there was a guy that said that he was shooting archery, and the safety officer, he was like already pulled. He's got the bow, full, and the guy can grab his arrow. Is that typical?
No,
I think it is, but no. I'm not a big archery guy.
He said that was a whole kid thing. I'm pretty sure because he said that was in Boy Scouts. It was Boy Scout camp or something. So I think he was talking about back when he was a kid, and it was probably a camp counselor of some sort. So probably not a certified archery instructor or anything like that. I just
have never heard of someone doing that before. Yeah. You were kind of freaking out.
That's a good way to lose a hand, or or arrow through a hand, or yeah.
Fee says it may not be the light trigger. You're talking about bullseye. This is true. He says it might not be the light trigger. It just could be a bad trigger job. So you might maybe go take it to a smith or someone, have them look at a trigger job. But if you think it's because you're trying to get that quick reset, then that's on you.
Knowing bullseye because I'm still ticked off at him anyway because he's got something less than 41.
Right.
But anyway, knowing the equipment he runs, is likely not.
It's probably a good trigger job.
Yeah. It's just he's getting a little overzealous on getting that next shot off, which happens. I mean, I've had it happen myself.
Mohawk says he had some hang fires when he first started loading his 8mm. Wrong powder choice. Same day he had a squib. So
you need to learn how to reload, Mohawk boy.
I would imagine that could be something. Yeah. What's that?
I hope he can reload a lot better now than he. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Good Lord. To the same day. It's like, wow, it's time to go back to the drawing board and read some books, man. Come on.
Now, speaking of reloads, you and I had a great conversation, and I was at the gun shop today, and I'm kind of looking. Imagine that. Go figure. I was at the gun shop today, and my daughter's 21st birthday is next week, and trying to figure out. I'm going to take her over there and let her. She shoots my what do you call it? Goodness gracious.
Your
I just lost.
firearm of some sort, apparently.
Yeah, it's the 380 Smith and Wesson, the bodyguard. Bodyguard, it was bodyguard. But I said, for her 21st birthday, if she wants a new gun, then I will give her the money. But I wanted her to go through the process as a 21-year-old, buying her first handgun that she's chosen and she's buying, going through the 4473 process and all of that stuff. While I was there, I just happened to see what was in stock, and I had sold an M&P Sport AR a couple weeks back to a buddy, and I've been thinking for about 6-7 months that I've been wanting to get a 300 Blackout, and they had a 300 Blackout there at the gun shop, and they also had a 458 SOCOM. So I called Clover, and who we know has both of them, and I was kind of going through there, and I've got 2 other ARs that are chambered in 5.56. So I didn't want to go get a third one just to have another 3 AR. If I want to get another AR, I want to get something chambered in something that I don't already have. And I've been wanting a 300 Blackout, but the 458 SOCOM was kind of appealing because it was, it's 458 SOCOM. It's a powerful punch. But I called Clover and asked his opinion, and he kind of validated my thought process on why I wanted 300 Blackout so much. But I want to throw it out to the chat real quick before we start our final 4 bracket. I want to throw it out to the chat. If you've already got the AK in the house and you've got the AR-15 chambered in 223 or 5.56, and you were going to get
another, you've got X39 in AR too, didn't you say?
What's that?
You've got the 7.62 by 39 and AR.
Well, no, I don't have an AR. I have got AKs.
Oh, and the AK. Okay.
2 AKs. I've got 2 AKs in 7.62 by 39, and I've got 2 ARs chambered in 5.56. So I've got those calibers covered. So I was looking for, if I'm going to get another AR, I wanted something different. So I want to throw it out there to the chat. If you've already got 7.62 by 39 and you've got 223/5.56 covered in an AR platform, what would be your next caliber choice in a carbine? Whether it's an AR or even, I'll even go, AK, because there's, you can go AK-74 if you wanted to, or something like that. But I'll tell you, let's not go AK. Let's not go the 7.62 caliber. Let's stay on the AR platform. And I guess you could go 7.62 in an AR platform, but are we talking 300 Win? Are we talking 300 Blackout, 458, 6.5 Creed?
They're already throwing out 308s. They're already talking AR-10. I'm like, on AR-10.
Because this is AR-10.
You're talking choices in the AR-15 platform, though. You need to narrow it down.
And let me preface this real quick. And Still Thunder says, I don't hunt. Okay, so the 458. Is something that would be a cool thing to have, but I don't hunt. I'm looking for another rifle just to have a fun one, but here's a caveat to that. Now, Patriot says 50 BMG. No shit. Caveat is hog hunting is starting to kind of get bigger in Arkansas. They're coming down from southern Missouri and all that. So if I ever did, some buddies of mine do go up and go hog hunting. So I was thinking the 300 Blackout suppressed would be my choice. But let's see what they got 308, 4 feet always needs a thumper. 300. 300 Blackout, 308 AR-10. It's a tough question. It is 458. Insight says 6.5 Creed. Lead Life says be 458 or 450 or 50. The 450 Bush, you have one of those, or you have at least experience with those, don't you?
No, yeah. 450 Bushmaster and the 50 Beowulf too. I went 458 for suppressibility. That's why I went 458. Honestly, the 450 and the 50 Beowulf just don't cut it when it comes to suppression.
Fee says if you can have suppressors, 300 Blackout, if not 6.5 Grindle. We didn't talk about the 6.5 Grindle, did we?
We didn't, but that's one of the ones I was considering when I went 6.8.
Yeah,
I went 6.8 instead of 6.5 Grindle. 6.5 Grindle, it's a good round. I'm not gonna, I can't knock it. But again, you get back into that the 300 Blackout and just the overall versatility. We've talked about that multiple times before. How do you argue against a caliber that you can go from a 90 grain to a 265 grain projectile. It's just insane.
And that's exactly what Dan the man out there is saying. He says 300 blackout because there's a lot of choices out there. And like you said, you can go supersonic, you can go subsonic. I mean, there are a lot of choices. And I think you said that you will typically, you like to run 115 sometimes through it. I mean, so there's all sorts of things you can run through it. You were talking about, what were you talking about? You going at 650 feet per second. What was that?
That's a 300 blackout, 200. I can
what
shoot
grain was that?
I can shoot a 245 grain.
There you go.
245.
And that's talking about, like you said, a pellet gun. That's 650 feet. My gosh, that's soft. That's pellet gun soft.
245 grain.
Let's see. Stealth says 300 blackout, miss on hogs, go 458. J Mills says, how is 300 black for hunting? Say 100, 150 yards.
It's fine. It's great. It's awesome. Super. Yeah. So. Or is he asking? Is he asking, is it good at that yardage, or is he saying?
Yeah, I think he's saying he's going to hunt at 100, 150 yard ranges. So how is 300 blackout?
That's great, man. I mean, especially if you're gonna, I mean, that's even within. If you're talking lighter skin, if you're talking like whitetail deer or something like that, you can even go subsonic and suppressed and subsonic at that range if you wanted to. I wouldn't push subsonic much out past 150 for sure. Most of my subsonic stuff is well under 100. That's just where I prefer it to be. But yeah, I mean, you can get, we've talked about, well, it's right here. This is my bench rifle.
Yeah.
For
I'm gonna click on you.
Oh, there.
It's not heavy, is it?
Well, I mean, it is when you're trying to hold it awkward and pick it up awkward. But
nice.
That one was built pretty much specifically to shoot
on the bottom on the rail. Was that a bipod?
Yeah, it's a bipod on the front.
Okay.
That one was built specifically just pretty much for bench use, and to go. To shoot 110, 115 grain projectiles at around 300 or so, and it does pretty well for that.
Lead Life out there asked me about the 224 Valkyrie. We talked about the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie is going to be the hot round. Like this year, the hot round is a 6.5 Creed, and I think next year the Valkyrie will probably be the caliber of the year type thing or whatever. It's a hot round. But 300 Black's been out for a long time. It's a very versatile round, and I'm not saying anything against the 6.5 Creed or the Valkyrie. But I've been wanting 300 Black out for probably 7 or 8 months, 6, 7, 8 months now. And so that's probably what I'm going to go to, because it is, like you said, it's a very versatile round. You can go supersonic, you can go subsonic, you can go suppress. You can, there's so many different things that are cool about the 300 blackout round. Plus the ammo, whether you're loading or buying, manufactured and mass-produced ammo, it's available. I'm not so sure that the Valkyrie is going to withstand time. And 300 blackout's been around for a long time. It's been popular for the last few years, but it's been around for a while. So
the 300 blackout was the 300 whisper before it was the 300 blackout, to be honest about that. And so yeah, it's they renamed it, tweaked it a little bit, renamed it 300 blackout, and then that was a little more catchier, I guess, than the whisper. But
yeah, Mohawk says he's got a 5.56 and a 7.62 by 39 and a 308 long range, so he wouldn't want another 30 cal. So, Mohawk boy, what would yours be? And you might have answered it earlier. I just didn't see it. What's up, Doc? How you doing, buddy? Obnoxious one is in the hizzy. Insight says the 300 blackout benefit is a great short barrel round by the AR. And arrow, Leo says.
Now, see, Philo is right. They haven't really got twist rate down in the Valkyrie yet. Once they can get that down, it could be a lot more viable than what it is now. But
Leo says, how about buying an AR and a pistol cal? I already own 3 pistol caliber, 4, 3. I've got the Beretta CX4 Storm. I've got a High Point 9. I've got 4, a High Point 45, and I've got the Scorpion in 9. So,
carbines.
I've already got plenty of pistol. I've already got plenty of PCC, so I don't need more of those.
Yeah, I know Patriot's saying carbine and 44 mag. I have the Ruger 44 mag carbine, which is you talk about a great deer rifle for East Texas. That's a great deer rifle for East Texas. It really is. Now Pants on Gun Channel side, he's saying that go 300 blackout if you're going to buy a can. So yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, no doubt. Let's see here. All right. Well, do you want to start the bracket? It's a little after 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we probably need to because I do have another show in 50,
you got another show
in 54 minutes. So yeah, probably should. Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
Here's what we're doing. Okay, is we have the bracket. It's the Final Four bracket, and if you've kind of missed what we were talking about earlier, what we've decided to do is for our bracket, we're going to let the viewers choose the winners. We're not going to have a vote in it. We're going to be going on the gun channels and on the YouTube side, and you guys are going to choose the winners. So the category tonight is Best Firearm Company. Now, obviously, we can have an argument just on the title alone, but here was the criteria. We had the 5 platforms we set out. You had semi-automatic pistol, revolver, a carbine, bolt action, and shotgun. And to be considered for one of these companies, you had to have products in at least 3 of them. And then we made a list of 7, 8, 9 of these companies that had at least 3 platforms out there. And then we started ranking them for quality of product, longevity, what they've meant to the industry as a whole. And we came up with a final 4. We don't want to go a top 10 and all that. We're going to go straight up to the nitty gritty, go final 4. So we've got 2 American companies and 2 foreign companies. And
sort of. At least it started out that way.
It started out that way. Correct. So what we've decided to do is to pair up. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the first pairing. All right. And so contestant number 1 is Smith & Wesson. All right. Contestant number 2 is Ruger. So what we're going to do is we want to have you guys voting out there, and we're going to kind of watch and keep track. If you want to vote for Smith & Wesson, type 1 in the chat. If you want Ruger, type the number 2 in the chat. So here we go. So we're going to watch. I've got both of them pulled up here. And so Smith versus Ruger.
Instructions are kind of falling on deaf ears apparently out there. Come on.
1 for Smith, 2 for Ruger. So far, it looks like Smith's kind of got an early lead. Ooh, Ruger's
on the gun channel side. That's pretty even. Smith,
we're going to keep it open for about 30 more seconds.
Yeah, Smith's got the lead.
Smith's
I'm looking to see some people are typing it more than once though. So
I know.
Got to look for that.
Yep.
Trying to tank. Philo done made like 6 votes already. So Pants wants to know, can he just have both?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, we're not saying don't go buy any of these. We're saying go buy all of them.
Right.
I want to say on the YouTube side, it's definitely been Smith. What about on the Smith? All right. So Smith moves.
It's Smith on there too. Yeah, it's Smith. It looks like Smith. But I really didn't think that would happen, but yeah.
Yeah, I Ruger, especially the last few years, has come a long way, and they have.
You look at a gun company and the number of products they've had over the years, from carbines to rifles to shotguns to you name it, revolvers, semi-auto. Ruger does it all. So as a company, I really didn't figure, but
yeah. Now Chris Vector is out there saying, I love the name Chris Vector. I love it. All right. So Smith moves to the finals. And so the next matchup is Beretta versus CZ. Now, you want to do is where they can only vote once, so we can, hopefully we can be able to
only vote once if you
once.
can. I don't think we mentioned that, but yeah.
Yeah, vote once. So what we're going to do this time is Beretta is going to be number 3, and CZ will be number 4. And we're going to keep it open for about 30 seconds. So go ahead. 3 for Beretta, 4 for CZ. Or CZ, it makes no difference. I was just trying to make it easy for you guys. Ooh, this could be an interesting one.
CZ love. I kind of figured this was going to happen. CZ love.
Oh, there's some Beretta love out there. It's picking back up. Beretta's coming back.
Yeah. CZ's got the gun channel so far.
I'm gonna.
Oh, Beretta did. Nah, there's some more CZ, or is that double votes? Nope.
I'm going back to look. They're not double votes.
They're not double votes. And CZ picked back up.
5 against 3.
It's CZ.
It's CZ. So CZ. The DF2 said the admins are colluding. I want to definitely say CZ wins that one, don't you?
They just have good taste. Yeah, that looks like that swung CZ. Yeah. It tied up and then CZ pulled ahead. Or got pretty close and then CZ pulled ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So the championship of the inaugural Ghost and Clover Final Four. Once again, the criteria was of the 5 platforms of firearms that we were using: semi-automatic pistol, revolver, carbine, bolt action, and shotgun. These manufacturers had to have items.
They're hollering rigged. It's like, how can it,
How can it rigged? You guys are doing the voting.
You need to go. You should have shared and brought your friends on. We told you it was going to happen.
That's right.
Should have stacked the deck. Anybody can go back and recount. That is actually possible. So they think it's rigged. The chat is there. Feel free to go back and recount.
Yeah, we don't get a vote in this one. That's why we're doing this. Is it seems like to me on all the other shows that have the top 5s and top 10s and the brackets, I love them. I love being on there. I love doing those. But we thought let's let the viewers do this. So Kinky says he's Russian collusion here. Gary said should have had High Point in there. All right, so let's go to the championship. We got to get off because you've got another show here in 45 minutes. The championship round is Smith & Wesson is number 1 against CZ number 4, and the voting channels are now open. Smith & Wesson number 1, CZ number 4. So let's see the votes.
I think Philo has got his faced with Sophie's Choice out there, I think, or something.
Tack Daddy, we're in the championship round. Smith & Wesson versus CZ is the best firearm company. Man, it is. I'm not gonna lie, it's freaking neck and neck on YouTube.
Smith & Wesson's got it just barely. CZ's tied it up
on the gun channel side, or
on the YouTube from what I'm watching.
Yeah, it's right there, man.
I don't know how much longer we got, but
let's give it 10 more seconds. 2, 3. Hey, I'm gonna count the 1s. Why don't you count the 4s, okay?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17. I got 17 votes for Smith.
And we're 15. We've only got 15 for CZ.
Oh, so Smith on a 17 to 15. Wow. So Smith, according to our numbers, is the winner of the inaugural Ghost and Clover Final Four. And once again, we're going to start doing these a little more often. And
never would have thought, man. Never would have thought.
I would have thought, but man,
I would have thought CZ all the way. I would have thought CZ all the way. Excellent high-end shotguns, excellent low-end shotguns, excellent high-end pistols, excellent low-end pistols, excellent rifles, and then you got the whole Milsurp history thrown in there as well. I would have thought CZ as far as the company, but
yeah. Yeah, I was kind of surprised, but yeah, Smith. I'm a Smith fan. I'm a CZ fan. I probably in my personal choice, I would have picked Smith.
I'm not disappointed. I mean, that,
but
the whole point.
I thought it was. I didn't think it was gonna be close. Honestly, I thought CZ would run away with that one.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where that's what's cool about the way that we structured it with this Final Four setup is you literally got apples to apples, and it is kind of a hard decision even amongst all four if you start breaking it down and start actually thinking about things. So, yeah.
Midnight says that the Smith with AR-15 was a big. Yeah, I just sold one of the MP Sports, but I still got an MP Sport. Smith, they make a pretty good. I would call it, I don't know, reasonably priced AR. I mean, reasonably priced. But no, I carry. I mean, I'm a big. I think everyone knows I'm a big Smith fan. My everyday carry is a Shield. Got a bodyguard. My very first handgun I ever bought was the original M&P, which was a revolver, and that's kind of when I realized I wasn't really a big revolver guy. It was a cool gun. I wish I would have kept it, honestly, because it was my first handgun. I regret getting rid of it, but I've always been a big Smith guy. They're not the greatest, I guess, but for me, I've never really had a problem except for the AR-10 that I shot at range day. I've never really had a big problem with any cards I've ever owned.
That was such a turd. So hashtag that's part of why I don't like AR-10s. But anyway,
Doc says that I sell out SIG last night.
I don't know.
I picked the Beretta 92 over the SIG.
I'm going to tell you now.
What's my favorite gun of all time? It's the Beretta 92.
After the 1911 beat the G19, I was like, I'm done. It's rigged.
I don't hate,
but at least the 92 took it because I'm a 92 guy as well. I like the 92.
Yeah, I'm not a big SIG fanboy, but I don't dislike SIG. I just choose other firearms over the SIG, maybe because of price points or whatever. I don't dislike SIG. But you're going to put a SIG up against a Beretta 92. I'm sorry, SIG's going to lose that battle. That's just for me. And I know there's a lot of people that say the 226 is better than 92, and that's fine. For me, like I said, I love the 92, and there are a lot of Marines that hated the 92, the M9, whatever you want to call it. I love the 92. I do not hate SIG though, Fee. No, I didn't. And he says, Doc says dead to me. HBO Matt says gonna need a 92A3 to go with his M45A1. Now in FDE heaven. I didn't realize they came out in Flat Dark Earth, so that's interesting. I would take any firearm from any of those four companies. Exactly, Patrick. And that's what Clover was talking about. We're talking apples versus apples here. And it was very difficult. We had to whittle down these four choices, and it was hard. But yeah, that's what we're talking about is with what we're trying to do with these brackets, these Final Four brackets, is we're trying to give you four legitimate comparison companies or calibers or guns or knives or whatever we choose to do that week, to where it isn't apples versus apples. We're not going to give you a Glock 19 versus a 1911, or we're not going to give you M&P Shield versus a Desert Eagle. You can't compare these things.
It's sort of like, that's sort of what we did. And you mentioned it when we were talking one time on Friday. We did like the best handgun in the world or something. And we did revolvers. We did revolvers, and then we did semi-auto, and then we did other, which was like single shot or whatever, and then and then we did like special category, which was like the Beretta 93s and the Glock 18s and stuff like that. And then we turned around and then we took all of that, the winners from all of that, and then lumped those together at the end. So this is one of them things too, to where it's more accurate comparisons.
A Patriot says Final Four Bond girls. I could get into that.
Yeah.
Now I want and Laggy McLaggy Lag out there says, honest question, why is the 92 such a beloved gun? I can tell you why it is for me. I think a lot of people know that I really didn't get into firearms at all until I joined the Marine Corps. And the M9 Beretta 92 was basically the first handgun that I got experience with. And I just remember, I think we all remember the first time we shoot something and we just get that adrenaline rush. Well, mine just happened to be with that Beretta. And so I'll always have fond memories. It was that being said is a lot of people had issues with the M9. I never did. So I like the way it feels. I mean, like I said, for me, it's kind of like that first car. You always kind of love that first car. It's always going to have a special place in my heart. Now, is it the greatest firearm in the world? No, I've never said that. I said it's my favorite firearm. So,
my reason is simple. I mean, it's the reason most of them out there in the chat are giving now, and I'm 80s movies, not specifically Lethal Weapon, but really go back and watch any 80s movies that has any kind of firearms in it. It's gonna have a 92 or 96 or it's gonna have that style of a pistol somewhere in that movie. I can promise you.
Hemi says that he's not a Beretta or a 92 fan, but the Beretta is 10 times better than the P320, the military. I'm not even going to get into that. That might be a next show topic, but I actually have a different point of view for military service weapons, and we'll maybe get into that next time. But I think it should be an American-made company, honestly.
Right.
The first gun he ever shot was the Beretta PX4 Storm. I love the PX4 Storm. You actually shot that. We both shot that at range day, did we not? I know I did. I think you did too.
I believe so. Yeah.
That's a really cool gun. Einstein says that Smith & Wesson failed on them, but they redeemed themselves by getting it fixed and backed them in 21 days at zero cost. That's awesome. And DF2 said the APX is better than the 320. Guys, it is 9:22. Clover's going to have to get ready for after hours. It starts in just over 30 minutes. We've had a great chat, and thank you so much for everyone being involved. We love the engagement. We love having the viewers out there get involved. Thanks to everyone. I want to do a quick run through, but it's actually too many people. But thank you to everyone on the Gun Channel side. You've got the Pantses out there, Pfeiffer, Leo, Knives, Gary, Einstein. We had a whole slew. We were over 50 on the YouTube side. I think a lot of them have gone over to watch Yankee. Now we're still pushing 37, even against Yankee. So bring it on, Yankee. But thank you to everybody. There are some people out there that I hadn't seen before. Welcome to the channel. Please check out any of my videos. Go check out Clover Tech's videos. Before we get out of here, Clover, go ahead and talk what you need to talk about real quick.
That's it. Not a lot, really. I mean, this is awesome. I mean, as usual, hopefully it'll be, we had troubles, but I mean, hopefully we can get back and do this, sooner than later. I'm hoping so. And we'll make the little bracket a staple of doing this in some way. Who knows what it'll be about, but we'll do it somehow.
And if you guys have ideas, email me at live@ghosttactical.us and email Clover at live@clovertac.com. Give us some ideas of what you guys want in the Final Four.
Yeah, because we can hash out the details and the requirements to whittle it down and then run with it. So, other than that, after hours is here in about 35 minutes or so.
20 minutes, yeah.
So, if you turn the camera on, if you whatever, we're going to talk about three things are kind of on deck. And I've had a long day and hadn't eaten, so we're probably going to have an hour show, and that's about it for after hours. But going to talk about blind carbon copy and about email etiquette and some stuff like that. Then we're going to move into the new things that are happening with that Morning Fame software that a lot of creators use, and then from there maybe talk about the marijuana, the pot channels, and the things going on with YouTube with those, and how things may be similar to what they have been doing with gun channels and stuff like that. And then tomorrow night we're going to talk a little about I want to say Trump getting rid of a lot of the ITAR taxes, and if you're not familiar with that, it's ITAR. Go look them up. But it has to do with gunsmithing and gun manufacturing and ammunition manufacturing and stuff like that. And it's not really a Trump thing, so I don't really like to tie his name to it. Right. But we'll get into all of that tomorrow night. Of course, that was a requested topic, by the way. So, and awesome. I can't remember right now who requested it, but if you're out there, thank you for requesting it. That's what we're going to talk about. So, that's it.
Well, yeah, go check us out. We'll be, like I said, check out my channel, all my videos. I got some cool different stuff, different points of view from a lot of things. Check out Clover Tag. Go check out, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Ghost and Clover show. We both have shows throughout the week, but every couple weeks we get together. There might be, I don't want to Bradenize it, but there might be something coming down the road on this same time slot.
They've been talking about that for a month. It's probably too late. It's fish braked already. But yes, that there's something that, if it doesn't happen on a weekly basis, we are going to probably fill this time slot pretty good. I think that's a good time slot. I love going against Yankee, and Yankees got Matt and G on there tonight. So, cool. Okay.
I forgot that it was that week. So, anyways, guys, if you're new to the channel, thank you for coming in. Go check out Clover. Go check out GunChannels.com. It's a great two-way and pro gun community where you've got 24-hour lobby chats. You've got the daily gun shows over there with G-Webs. A lot of your content creators and show hosts that you watch are over on Gun Channels. It is free to join. Come over there and check us out. It's the water cooler of the gun community. But thank you so much for everybody for coming out. And Patrick says, great show, guys. Appreciate you, brother. Patriot says later the Lenny Tactical and Squeaky Tack show. Yeah.
I can see some interesting thumbnails maybe in the future. We may have to play with Photoshop a little bit.
Himmy says he's glad that we're not shutting down because of Yankee. You know, if you want to go watch Yankee, go watch Yankee. But you know,
they're saying on the Gun Channel side he's talking about flat Earth, so you may not want to go watch Yankee right now.
I'm not going to watch Yankee then because that's not there.
Right.
Good God. But no, thank you to everyone who's new. Hope you guys, if you like it, subscribe, watch some videos. Hope you learn something. Go subscribe to Clover Tack. Watch his videos. Hope you learn something. We are all trying to just be a better gun community and hold hands, sing kumbaya, make everybody understand that we're normal, everyday people that happen to like guns and carry every day. So welcome to our lives. We hope that you enjoy. We hope we're able to befriend you. We love the engagement out there. So if you have any questions or anything, even guys, if you're new to the channel, both Clover and I both, we do not mind criticism. If you have something that you don't like about our channels, go ahead and let us know. You can email us, make a comment, or we're all for it. That's how we're going to get better. So watch some stuff. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch more. Go ahead and at least leave us a comment as to why you don't like it. That way we can help us later down the road. So guys, let's see here. What the hell? Troll Daddy's out there. Unsub Tack Daddy now. He sucks. He does suck.
That's Fud Daddy, man. It's Fud Daddy.
It's Troll Daddy. What is he? Fud Daddy. Oh, sorry, it's Fud Daddy. It's Fud Daddy.
Fud Daddy.
I love it. Well, guys, check out After Hours here in about half an hour. Thanks again for watching. And until next time, Semper Fi.